Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dragon Talk.
Woo!
We are back. Very excited to be here and with Shelly Moo.
I'm very excited to be here with Greg Tito.
That's me.
That's you.
We're here.
On a Friday afternoon.
Dun, 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 dun.
Guess what I just did?
What did you just do?
Ate a can of beans.
Really?
Like really fast.
I'm
too.
like doing the faux pas of opening candy right on the microphone.
Ryan likes it when you do that.
How about when I bite mints? Do you like that too?
So pro.
Mm-hmm.
So are you a mint biter, or do you actually like let it dissolve?
I am with these because they are very large, and putting that whole thing in my cheek would, and I think not be very good. So
I would, if I had that, I would just chew it. And some people suck on them.
Yeah.
And somebody once told me that he was really annoyed by the fact that I chewed my mints.
Really?
Yeah. Like he was like, it was like something he must have noticed me doing often, because he was like, I'm sorry, but you're not supposed to chew a mint. You're supposed to suck on it. And it just really bothers me that you always
My
chew
God.
your
Was this
mint.
like a first date or something like that?
No, it was somebody who used to work here.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I'm glad that's in the past tense.
I know.
Yeah,
I got
'cause
rid of him for that.
I mean, I am not a mint chewer
I am.
at all, but
Oh, yeah, like
I am-
lifesavers. I have to just.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, doing that on the microphone is probably a bad idea. I've been doing this thing recently where I'm just taking a drink of water, and my wife was like, "Why are you drinking so loudly?" And I'm like, "I'm not. I'm just drinking water."
Oh, no.
And now I'm like super self-conscious now when I take a sip or something like that, because I'm like, "Am I doing a loud swallow when I don't
What
even
part
know?"
is loud? Is
It's
it
the swallow that she's like, "God, it's like
We'll
drums
find out.
beating."
You have two beverages in front of you,
You
right
ready?
now.
You ready
yeah.
for this?
That was.
Oh,
Yep.
that's an old George Carlin bit where he does
That was good.
the swallowing on microphone.
That
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
I think we should give your esophagus its own podcast. It could be your new co-host.
It's like our ASMR, satire podcast that we're gonna have.
Yes. And then the opposite. Maybe Aaron has. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. But there is a condition where hearing certain voices
Mhm.
can like just trigger
like
anxiety and
right.
migraines, and it's like nails on a chalkboard.
I
Maybe
have
she's
that.
developed that.
There is actually a condition too about eating sounds in particular,
Yeah.
like that some people just, and I think I have a fraction of that in
Like listening to people eat.
It's one of those things, like once you start paying attention to it, it's like really hard for me to stop paying attention to it, and
Yeah.
it gets like my guff just goes higher and higher and
Yeah.
higher. But if I'm in a social setting, I usually don't care, or it doesn't come up. It's usually like just when I want when there's a lot of silence or anything like that, and I'm just listening
Or
to
like
this
when
one
we're
person
all
in
at
the
our
room.
desks and people are.
No, not even that.
Oh.
No, not even that at all. Because it's just it's like it's once you start,
Yeah. I'm like that with snoring.
Yeah, same
if
thing.
I can hear the snore, I can't unhear it.
Right.
And it does just build up and
Mhm.
build up and build up.
So Fiona's been snoring still.
What's
Well, because we had her tonsils and adenoids removed, so we're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
she'll be fine. She doesn't necessarily snore. She's just like a loud sleeper. Like she just breathes really loudly,
yeah.
and which is not terrible when she's sleeping in her own bed and everything's fine. But on those nights when she's not
Yeah.
and needs comfort, it's like I can't go back to sleep ever, because I'm like,
Nope. I know. I know.
It's like
It
she's
just
a
makes you
dragon.
angry.
She is a dragon.
It is sleeping next to a dragon.
yeah, fire
Apparently,
breathing.
I snore.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool for me. I don't care.
I was just saying, nobody,
Yeah.
the people who suffer
other
from
guys,
snoring
like,
are the
kind
people
of
around you.
So apparently, like, I get woken up to be told that I'm snoring,
Oh.
and then I get super angry. I don't remember this, but apparently I fight back, and I will be like, "No, I'm not." Yeah, you are. Oh, I'm not. And I'll just have like a big long argument in my sleep, and then Bart's like, "You're so mean. Why are you so mean to me? I was trying to be nice."
There's so much anger that happens
Don't wake me up.
when you're not even awake, right? So
Right.
you can't be blamed,
I know.
right?
I don't know what my sleeping self says.
The sleep spell has been cast upon you. What do you do?
I wish it was cast upon him, and then he wouldn't hear my snores.
Could we do like a snore spell?
That would be
Now I want to make up
super irritating.
my own, first level bard cantrip.
Yeah.
I curse you with snoring.
You will always hear snoring every time you fall asleep.
Oh, that's
be
pretty
so
sadistic,
annoying.
actually.
That would be the kind of spell I would do if I was a real wizard.
Yeah.
Just like
a
little
real evil
annoyances.
wizard.
Do you ever get just mad at someone and like maybe like in traffic, somebody just does something really crappy to you, and you're just like, oh, I wish I was a wizard. Is it
Fireball!
I would just like to, or I don't know, just like teach people a lesson. Like I cast diarrhea. And
Not anything that would actually hurt them. Just
I just like annoy
inconvenience
like
them.
oh, and then they just like poop themselves. Sorry,
While they're driving.
Not always driving. Like sometimes I just see annoying people in real life. Like,
oh no!
Like somebody says something. I just
gosh.
like.
That's how I'm going to end this this interview.
Diarrhea.
I'm going to be like, oh gosh, I just gotta go.
Somebody cast diarrhea on me.
Oh man, this is devolving into terrible jokes, but I had this one friend of mine who made a joke like that, and he did the amazing thing of walking away from the group of friends who were already laughing, holding his pant leg, as if like he was like holding
it in.
Yeah. And I was like, that's the funniest. Like, I don't know.
Did you believe him?
No, I didn't believe it at all. But it was just funny that
funny.
he took it to the level that it would be if something like that had actually happened. Like, where would it go? I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be there.
That's why I wear skinny jeans.
It's not like the wizards in Harry Potter who apparently do that and then use magic to get rid of such things.
Well, that's convenient.
Did you see that? That was
No.
on a Twitter thing from Pottermore.
No.
Very recently.
They poop their pants and then they clean it up with a
That's
cantrip?
basically like that's what wizards used to do in the wizarding world until they got Muggle plumbing.
No.
Yeah, so that's canon from like J.K. Rowling.
That is actual. Really?
Yes, really. And so everyone was like, "Why do you keep ruining your books after they've come out because of this?"
Why do we have to know that?
Yeah, right.
Leave things to the imagination.
I think they were trying to come up with a reason as to why a lot of the plots of the book happens in bathrooms. You know, like there's a couple of things where there's like, oh, yeah, why do wizards have bathrooms? They don't need plumbing. They can just use magic to spill water across their electrical equipment.
What if you're a human? Like, why? All right. Here, maybe this is a question for Perkins.
Yes.
Do elves poop?
I believe it is canon that they do not.
They don't?
No, I'm just making that up.
Oh.
But in my head canon, no D&D characters do that.
None of them do?
And I mean, that'd be kind of grody, wouldn't it? Like,
they have to.
Of course they do, but you don't want their game.
I mean,
to
I
be
don't
about
need
that.
to know that. Like, I honestly don't need Perkins to write a section in a book about elves pooping in the woods.
Right.
I don't need to know that. I'll just assume it happens.
I'm going to ask Jeremy on Stage Advice later today about that. I think we had a whole topic. We were going to talk about bonus actions and how they get
Talk
timed.
about butt actions.
But now we're going to talk about can you use a bonus action to poo in combat?
Or to clean up your poo if you poo in combat.
I mean, we know that crying is a free action. You can always cry.
That's really sweet. I guess, I don't know. Bodily functions are probably just a free action.
Here I am chewing my mint. Could you hear that?
No, but I'm chewing gum. Like, we're so amateur.
We are
We're
professionals.
just breaking all the rules.
Well, I feel like that was a real banter moment. Right
I feel like people are just going to love this new Dragon Talk format.
Exactly. Thank you to everyone who is watching on Twitch about all of the things that happen when not on camera. We are doing a little bit of a different format from the past, but if you are watching us, I am glad you are. We do this 1 hour here of talking to you guys a little bit, talking to each other, and then recording our intros and outros. And then at 2 p.m., we've got an awesome interview. We are talking to Dan Telfer and Blaine Capatch from Nerd Poker.
Yeah.
We've talked to Dan before, but never to any of the cast members. So I'm excited about that. And they released a new episode in the Nerd Poker canon, starting a new story, a new campaign with some of the same cast members, but new characters. And it sounds pretty cool. So we'll get the skinny on all
Sounds
that
good.
when we speak to them at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So that's going to be in about 45 minutes.
All right.
Start your watches. And then, as I said, at 2 p.m., we'll be talking to Jeremy Crawford for a Stage Advice segment. Sorry, no, 2 to 3 p.m. we'll be talking
Correct.
to Jeremy.
Yeah, I forgot.
No
Sorry.
worries.
It's Friday afternoon.
But I say we, but it'll just be me talking to Jeremy because apparently Shelly's got a call that she's got to do that is very important.
It's super important. I can't tell you.
I think I know who it's with about
I know what it's
attendance
about.
at a certain thing.
No?
Okay, good. Phew, that was close. We're talking in code now so that you guys don't know what we're talking about, but it is important. Throwing that out there.
You're going to love it.
There's also some fun stuff that I've been working on this week that you'll learn more about on Monday. Nothing super D&D related, so don't get your hopes up too much.
Oh, Monday.
But there's a thing happening. I don't want to go into more detail than that, but you should watch this here channel.
Really?
To see it.
It's going to be live?
Yeah.
That's
it is.
awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually, I didn't even know until today when it was announced internally. It's way cooler than even I thought it was.
Right?
Yeah.
See? It's
So.
like, if Shelly thinks it's cool, then you know it's cool.
Because my cool threshold is very high.
It is, actually. It's like Bachelor and this
yeah,
thing.
and Real Housewives. And this thing that's happening on Monday.
Which has nothing to do with
either.
Bachelor or Housewives, or does it? I don't know. You're just going to have to figure it out. So that's what's happening. How are you guys going this Friday afternoon? I hope you're doing well. Actually, I guess I can call up the chat here.
And they can really tell us.
And they can really tell us for realsies.
Can we talk about Betrayal Legacy?
Yeah, we can.
Because we're playing it.
Do it. What happened, actually? I was actually wondering about that because I had to leave.
Your character died. Oh, no, but you were like the last. It was you and the traitor.
Oh, okay.
And we were all laughing, like, watch, Greg's going to his character's going to finally, like, survive this.
Right.
But you didn't.
So the traitor won.
The traitor won.
Ooh.
So Merle's came and played your character.
I see. Great. Good deal.
It was good. And it was none of us survived.
And that was session 3?
Yeah.
Right? So the chapter 3? Very, very fun. I'm sad I had to miss it, but that was the day that I went to the state capitol.
Yes.
To check out.
Also D&D related.
Very D&D related, yeah, because Steve Hobbs, who we had
Senator
on,
Steve.
Washington State Senator Steve Hobbs, took me around and my family around the state capitol in Olympia,
Personal
Washington,
tour.
which I'd never been, and it's gorgeous. It is one of those state capitols that was...
Oh, no.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Diarrhea.
Uh-oh.
Time to leave
Good
now.
thing I'm wearing the skinny jeans.
I'm now forever. Steve is going to be upset that we conflated that with talking about his visit. But it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The state capitol was it's way more glamorous looking than I thought it was going to be. Lots of marble. Architecture is beautiful. There's like this whole like campus area, so there's a bunch of different buildings nearby.
Cool.
And he took us through most of them as to how the government actually works. And anybody who's watched shows like The West Wing or House of Cards or anything. Or Schoolhouse Rock. He did actually say like we're going to take a bill and
just a bill
on Capitol Hill.
On Capitol Hill.
Yep.
Oh.
He made that reference. And
Love
Edna's,
that guy.
we kind of came up with she was like, oh, everybody should wear primary colors. So that was like the law that we were like passing around.
Really?
To get it going.
Edna made a law.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then it would go to here, and then it would go to here, and these people would write it up and everything like that. So it
That's
was
so cool.
It was really neat. And then it was also neat seeing him, he's a standing senator. He was in session, and, there were people there who needed to speak to him about bills that he was sponsoring or not sponsoring and going through. And it was really just interesting seeing him do those, little hallway meetings while we were there touring the thing with him.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool to see government in action to a
Yeah.
certain extent.
So did you see his little D&D collection in his office?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that funny, though?
It's so
There's a
cool.
state senator that
Yeah.
has D&D stuff. in
And
his
not just
office.
D&D stuff. There was like comic book stuff. There was like this whole like he's got like a nerd corner, and it's right behind his desk. So every time he's talking to
The media?
no, not even just media. There's people in the government.
Oh,
Like
right.
it's a big part of his office. You can see it in the picture that I posted on Twitter about it. But then he's got stuff about his military career, his Asian American heritage and stuff like that. So it's all in there. But D&D is a big part of it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's super
He's a
neat.
good guy. I'm glad we.
Thank
I'm
you
glad
so
we
much
know him.
to him for giving us that glimpse and touring around with my family. It was really cool.
Very nice.
I really appreciate it.
The Tito's do Olympia.
We went and made some bills happen.
So primary color. So I'm breaking the law right now.
Right, exactly.
Sorry, Edna.
It was taken up. So sorry, you're going to jail.
So are you.
Crap, darn it.
We could. Maybe these are like uniforms.
Yeah, we could make that. There's primary colors behind us. Does that count?
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
breaking the law. Well, not Pelham. Good
I
job,
mean,
Pelham.
He's got red. Good for him. So we should record our actual real intro for the podcast, right? You guys ready for that? We'll do that soon. Wanted to just glance over it here at what everybody's saying. Everyone's talking about the Unearthed Arcana that will be going out, which is great. There's been
You Canadian all
I
of a
was.
sudden?
I totally used the Canadian
Nice.
pronunciation. That was like Scottish-ish.
It's the Scottish Canadians.
But yeah, the most recent Unearthed Arcana, it was about sidekicks, which I've heard
Aw.
great feedback on, and so that should be in everyone's game. Especially if you're doing a smaller party, you can have a few sidekicks to, have a larger group to take on challenges.
Nice.
There's also the one that was about ships and sea and the sea, I should say. And we're not doing one, I don't think, for this month, but next month we're promising one that is the Artificer. Artificer. How do you pronounce it?
I think fifth.
Fisser? Artificer? What do you think?
Now that doesn't sound right.
What do you think, chat? Artificer or Artificer?
Artificer.
How do you pronounce it in your game?
How do you say it without the
Well, artifice.
Artifice. So it would
Right.
be
Artificer?
fisser. No, not that. Turn out the light. Teddy, no. Teddy, go home.
Yeah, I would say artificer is what people are saying here in the chat. That's what Digital One Lucas says. Artificer is what Mike Ballas says, though.
Uh-oh.
So we've got...
We are torn. We are community divided now.
I'm sure there is an official pronunciation.
There is a pronunciation guide.
Yeah, that Matt Mercer or Marisha Ray will say on D&D Beyond when it gets released and put out there. You'll have the pronunciation
We will
guide
find
of them
out.
telling you exactly how it's done.
But who told them?
It's pronounced sigil. Which
Let's
I
go
used to
with that.
pronounce wrong too. I used to say that was sigil, but apparently it is the hard G in sigil.
I didn't know that either.
I know, right? We're learning things left and right. Artificer says fulgurite blades. I almost want to put the emphasis on sir at the end, like.
Artificer.
That's only when you're in the army.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you guys for letting us know. It's pronounced GIF, not GIF. Yes, that's in our sticker sheets that we put out there.
Oh, yeah.
That was Emmy.
Emmy's very good at that.
Emmy Tanji made that joke, and it made me laugh hilariously. That's not a word. All right. We're
Or
going to
is
do
it?
intro recording now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
Get ready.
Get ready. So again, this will go up on the podcast episode interview that we're recording with Dan Telfer and Blaine Capatch.
Capatch. Capaccio.
Gazpacho. I gotta make sure I remember to talk about that. Not when we do the intro. I'll say it now.
Say it now.
We will be giving away some fun stuff next week when we do these live recordings.
We will?
You and I.
Are going to give away stuff?
We're gonna give away stuff.
Do you know why that's exciting?
Why is that exciting?
Do you know what next Friday is?
What's next Friday?
My birthday.
You're going to give the gift of you turning
We
31 years old on Dragon Talk.
Yep.
That is amazing.
31. We're going to do that. Because on my birthday, I would like to give gifts to people.
You can give whatever you
Not
want,
gifs.
of course.
Gifts.
GIFs.
I'm
Gifs.
giving you all the Gif.
But yeah, we're going to give away Art and Arcana, the standard edition. Those are amazing.
What?
Walk through all of the visual history of Dungeons and Dragons.
No way.
Fantastic coffee table and or reference book for you out there. Some
Nice.
in-painted WizKids minis and a T-shirt. So we will be doing that
How?
all during next week on a lot of the stuff that we do internally here, including D&D News and
Can
Dragon
I
Plus.
give away something?
And you can give away something as well, yeah, next week on Dragon Talk. So we'll be promoting the heck out of that, but I want to make sure everybody that's listening and paying attention right now, when we do
get in there.
live, you can win stuff live. So tell your friends, watch next week
Or
to get
don't.
any of those things. What do you want to
Then
promise
you have
something?
a better chance.
Do you want to? No, you want more people to win.
I
Don't-
know.
What do you want to give away?
I'll give away a copy of Betrayal Legacy. And some
What?
I have some Dungeon Mayhem.
What?
Dungeon Mayhem.
We will have Mayhem and Legacy there in that prize package too.
You're gonna want both.
What about a mug? Think we should give away a mug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give away this one.
Well, that one, it's got
I won't
Shelly's
I won't even
lipsticks all
watch.
over it. This one as well. I actually brought this as a prop. It doesn't have coffee in it yet, but it will when we break, because I think I'm going to need a pick-me-up. What do you think about that?
Oh, pick me up. I thought that was my job. To lift you up.
Speaking of which, let's lift each other up on this intro. You wanna do
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
For reals?
Yeah.
Ryan, you ready to record?
Stand by.
Standing by. Welcome to Dragon Talk. That was terrible. I'm Greg Tito, and I'm making Shelly Mazanoble laugh.
Yeah, as usual.
As the usual.
Dragon Talk.
Did you listen to our outro last
No.
week?
No.
Oh, you said you were going to.
I started listening to the intro and I was like, this chick is annoying. And I turned her off. Ryan, is there a way that you can make me a version of the podcast that only has Tito's voice? And every time I talk, it's like birds chirping or something.
He said no. No,
I can't.
We're not going to do it.
Well, I can't listen to the podcast. But I
Just-
will listen to the outro because
It's pretty good.
I remember what we talked about and it still makes me laugh.
It's very fun stuff. So thank you to everyone who listened last week.
Yes.
Our interview with Fiona Staples went crazily, but guess what?
What?
We have a new interview on this here Dragon
I'm
Talk.
very excited.
We are going to speak to Dan Telfer and Blaine Capatch from Nerd Poker.
Yes.
They are amazing.
They are like pioneers of this whole D&D podcast.
It's true. Yeah.
You know, they were doing it a long time ago.
Yes.
I mean,
that's it.
by a long time, I mean like 5 years or
But
whatever.
that is.
but
That's it. It's.
because it's so new still.
It was very nascent. That whole
Yeah.
playing D&D live for video, of course, was growing around that time. But podcasting hadn't really happened. It was basically Acquisitions Incorporated, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
When Nerd Poker came on the scene. So we're excited to learn about that,
Yeah.
as well as their new campaign that just started.
And it's exciting always when we have a guest return. Because
Exactly.
we have talked to Dan before.
That's true.
And it's like, oh, thank
Yeah.
God. Like they still,
And
they
he
want to come back.
he was not the dungeon master, I think, at the beginning of Nerd Poker in the way before times, but he has taken over and done a fantastic job in the last few years, and so can't wait to
Yep.
hear from that, as well as all the other stand-up comedians that perform on
You think they're
that
funny
podcast.
even when they play it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's just natural.
It's just natural for them, just
Yeah.
like you and I, how we're just
mean,
naturally
it's-
unentertaining.
It's totally natural for us to not make people laugh.
That's true. But yeah, you'll hear from them, and then we've got a Sage Advice segment with Jeremy Crawford on bonus actions coming up
Bonus act.
in a little bit.
That's
Any-
cool.
Yeah, exactly. We're excited. What happened with you this week that you might want to chat about?
It's just a bunch of stuff I can't announce yet or talk about.
I know, there's
but
a lot of
major progress on 2 very exciting, cool things
that. Ooh.
that it's going to be so fun.
When you are able to talk about it, it'll be so fun.
Yep.
That's great. I've been doing the same, working on a bunch of stuff that I cannot tell anyone about.
Yep.
One of those things will have occurred by the time you are able to listen to this podcast listeners. And I can't wait to go into more detail on that in future episodes, but it's pretty neat.
I know. I'm very excited about this too.
Exactly. So what can people pay attention to now for
I
what's
think
happening.
that you should pay attention to Dungeon Mayhem.
Dungeon Mayhem.
Are you playing Dungeon Mayhem?
Are you?
People, are
People?
you playing? Because, like, you should go, just grab a copy. It is never not fun.
It's true. Yeah. No, people just love to jump in and grab a hold. Anybody that I've introduced it to, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of a skeptic, you know, even on how good the artwork looks and how it brings people in. People are like, that's not my style of game. And then they start playing it and they're like, yes, this is my style of game. Right?
You know what was great was coming back from our holiday break.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were home with their families.
Yeah.
And several people said, hey, I introduced my whole family to Dungeon Mayhem. We played Dungeon Mayhem the whole break. A lot of people are not, like the family might not be invested in D&D the way that we are.
Right.
They still played it. They still loved it. It's just a fun game.
It's
and
true.
if you do love D&D, then you're just going to appreciate it even more for what it is. But it's just a fun card game.
It reminds me to a certain extent, you know, totally in a different genre, but Lords of Waterdeep was just a fun board game.
Yes.
You know, and it almost didn't really matter what the D&D flavor was in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you responded to that, it was, you know, all
Great.
in canon and made sense and was an awesome, you know,
Yes.
full of references back to stuff that you may know. But, you know, my wife, for example, played it just because she liked getting the squares and completing the quests. You know, just doing the work of the game, and loved it for that reason.
Fun game.
Yeah. So I think Dungeon Mayhem is very similar in that regard, where, like, you know,
Yes.
it all makes sense.
And a lot of kids are playing it,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. Because obviously we wanted to reach that younger audience, and it's good to see, like, they are. On the box it says 8 and up, but I know that there are 5-year-olds who are playing it.
One of them's named Quinn.
One of them's named Win Barrel.
Win Barrel?
I don't, you know, that's his alias.
Oh, I thought it was the character, the goblin character.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We can't even, but oh my God. Did you see a visual?
No.
Oh, you gotta ask Perkins to show you the
Nice.
future Quinn.
There's artwork for his character.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Sean did it. Sean Wood.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. So, actually, Quinn and I just played Dungeon the other day.
Oh, the actual dungeon board game?
Dungeon board game. He likes that one a lot, too. And we played Married Wizards. That was his idea. I know. And he kept going up to rooms and opening the door for me. He's like, I'm going to open this door for Mommy. I'm going to make sure there's no monsters in here.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. He's so sweet.
He's like a fighter protector already.
And then
in his heart.
And then because, you know, kindergarten, so they're learning how to read and write.
Mm-hmm.
And he made me a card yesterday. I guess he used, like, all of the words he's really good at. And it said, I see mom butt. But it was like a beautiful picture of, like, a sun and a palm tree. I see mom butt.
Well, I mean, you're his sun and stars.
Yep.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
It's a
baby.
moon. It's a moon, I guess, actually.
Yeah, it's true. I see mom butt. He was like, I didn't know how to write moms. So they like, I see mom's butt.
Oh, so
like,
you just like mom butt.
I think it's just better to say mom butt.
Hmm?
It's a thing.
it
Like a
is-
dad bod.
I got mom butt. Is it like mom jeans, the like
Yeah.
SNL?
Yeah. If you wear mom
thing?
jeans, then you probably have mom butt.
And you would love Dungeon Mayhem.
Bringing it back.
Very cool.
Yep.
Are you playing in any D&D things? I keep wanting you to get into my West Seattle game, seeing as you're wearing a West Seattle T-shirt there.
Represent.
What's up, West Seattle blog?
Who did an awesome article.
They did.
We should invite them to come to our office.
They may be coming on Monday.
Oh, stop right now.
Yeah, they are.
Really?
I'm confirming that live on the air. It's true.
Do you know that the West Seattle blog is actually really famous and well known nationwide in terms of like neighborhood blogs?
I did not know that until the context of what's happening on Monday. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're familiar. I'm like, oh, okay.
They know everything.
They know everything.
They probably know we're talking about them right now.
They're already writing an article about it.
They know it before it happens.
It's true.
Like if I hear a helicopter in my neighborhood. I'm like, oh my God, get on the blog. Why is there
Why-
a helicopter overhead?
And they tell you, right.
And they're already on it.
So what we're talking about is a blog, but it's basically treated like a local news affiliate to a certain extent. Like they cover things in real time. They cover it like a local newspaper
Yes.
with businesses. If there's any incidents that happen in our neighborhood, it's always reported there first.
Yes.
And even I don't want to go into too much details, but like I had a police report that I made, and they were like, "Go check the West Seattle blog for more information on it." I'm like, "Oh, even you guys are referring to it? Like that's crazy."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's insane. So
West Seattle. Why
living
were
it
we
up
talking about that?
because you're gonna play D&D in West Seattle.
I do want to. It's just hard to do it on a weekend evening.
Like it's hard to do it like in a time like during like any kind of 24-hour period during the day.
It's actually just hard. It is. I don't know why it is, but I don't know.
It's an adulting thing.
Kid thing.
It is hard. So I hear
But I
you.
want to. I would like to play in a game. But we do have our Betrayal Legacy game.
Right.
So we have our quality time.
That is rocking and rolling, even though my character just perishes all the time.
Mine does too. I went back and looked at my history. You write your history on the back of your character cards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she's died every time.
It's mostly due to Pelham's character, who has, I think, shot me with both a gun and a crossbow.
Pelham is kind of crazy and evil.
But in a good way.
Yeah, it's always the nice one.
It's the horror theme of Betrayal Legacy. I just like that we have now like a history. Like it's not just that thing happened in that one session.
And you go
have a
back and
campaign.
reference your history. And I also like that our Betrayal game started with real life betrayal, with Nathan taking Kate Welch's spot.
Like betrayed Kate Welch.
He betrayed her.
Exactly.
He tricked me into keeping him. He was supposed to just sub for her.
Right.
And he claims I didn't make that clear.
And then he
he
put the
was
flag
like,
in. He's like,
I'm your boss. So
And
I'm in.
it's true. But speaking of betrayal, as well as Kate Welch, she had an awesome new show debut in the last week. It is Welch's Game Juice.
Yep.
It is on our Twitch channel, 3 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. She'll be playing through Baldur's Gate.
Love it.
The first Baldur's Gate game, the enhanced edition that Beamdog came out with in the recent past that makes it playable on modern machines and updates the UI a little bit. But it's been super fun. The first episode made me laugh multiple times.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would watch Kate watch Murder, She Wrote. And I would just be like, this is the best show ever.
It's true. She definitely commanded the presence very well.
She's just the best.
She's the best.
Yep.
So if you're interested in learning more about Baldur's Gate in general, it was a very, groundbreaking game, I would say, in 1998 when it came out. And it still has a lot of value now, and definitely through the lens of Kate Welch playing it, it's even more fun.
It's one of the games that when people talk about D&D and like, oh, I used to play, they always mention Baldur's Gate.
I know, even president of Wizards of the Coast, Chris Cox,
Yeah.
he often cites that Baldur's Gate was his first real introduction to playing a D&D video game.
Yeah.
And he loves that experience for it.
I would have played, but I wasn't alive then. I wasn't even born yet in 1998.
It's true. Happy 19th birthday next week. You're getting younger and younger. Are you quaffing
It's so
potions of
weird.
longevity back there?
Yes, you know it.
Mhm.
What kind of sorcery is happening here?
That's what you have in your D&D mug is potions of longevity.
Yes. I'm going to be just a baby probably next week.
Oh, you're Benjamin buttoning it?
Yes. And then I go right back up. And then I go right back down.
You're dead. I don't know. That was you as a hag for some reason. I kill you. I don't know what the bending of a.
finger.
It's like a murder.
Because witches have crooked little fingers.
And red rum.
Oh, that still scares me.
Even just me saying that.
It really does. And I will never say, I can't, Bloody Mary.
Oh no, you just said it.
Not 3 times in a
Ooh.
mirror.
Wait, what did you say?
Don't.
I'll make you say it 3
Don't.
times and then
It's got to be in a row.
I guess that's true.
That's not happening.
You know what is going to be happening pretty soon?
Tell me.
A stage advice segment where we listen to Jeremy Crawford talk about bonus actions.
I feel like we haven't done that in a while.
We did, but we're getting back in the swing of it because
Okay,
Fridays are the time for all that. So
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, so that was one thing I wanted to mention also.
Yes.
Our new time.
Yes.
But it seems like there's some new shows.
Yeah. There are.
There's like a whole. So you got to get up on the Twitters or on the D&D website to find, because
Twitch.tv/DND.
we have a lot of.
We have a
there is
schedule up there.
So many good new shows.
There is, and we moved around.
And we moved around some of the existing shows.
And there will be more coming up. So Rivals of Waterdeep just had their season 3 premiere last weekend.
Good to see them back.
Fantastic. New Dungeon Master Sharif Jackson is taking over, which is super cool because it was like the first time he played Dungeons and Dragons really was in prepping for their appearance at the Stream of Any Eyes.
Honestly, I just don't understand how people are just like, oh, sure, I'll play D&D for the first time live in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, some people like it. It totally works, but it's good to see
this new generation.
A Sharif take on that mantle. And I haven't been able to watch it through yet, but it's by all accounts it rocked. And then we have a D&D Rewind I started doing on D&D News this week, where 3 or 4 minute long video about recapping best moments from live play shows over the last week.
Oh, that's
So
that's
look for
so
that.
cool.
Look for that on YouTube on its own, but
D&D Rewind?
it's called D&D Rewind. And
I love that.
I'll be showing it off here on the D&D channel all the time, but definitely during D&D News is when we'll premiere the new one for the week.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, because there's always fun special moments from all different
and from
groups.
Dragon Talk especially.
Yeah, we're starting I think with the live play shows, but eventually we'll bring in more of stuff
real?
from us.
Really?
And or studio shows as well
totally
as
kidding.
around the rest of the
That is such a good
zeitgeist.
idea.
Yeah.
Well done.
Check it out. Shout out to Steve Sprinkles for editing that.
Thank you,
us.
Steve Sprinkles.
Doing good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's listen to my conversation with Jeremy Crawford on bonus actions starting right about... No. Wait, now.
Okay.
25-minute intro? No.
4 days.
15 minutes.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Is that what we aim for? Probably 8 minutes.
Probably 8 minutes is probably what we should aim to, but I like our rambles.
Can't help that. We
Yeah.
we don't even talk to each other during the week just so we can save it all up for you all.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know that, but it is true.
We don't talk to each other.
We barely talk to each
No.
other.
Yeah, nope.
So are we starting soon? Okay, now we're not. I just happened to glance down and what we were live, and we were not live. How are you guys doing? We need to do one more thing. Well, actually, 2 more things before our banter is complete.
A mid-tro?
We need to do our mid-tro as well as our outro. Sound like a plan?
Let's do it.
We shall do it. That was a really good segment talking to Jeremy.
Always is.
I love that we will basically when we're planning out these segments, we'll be like, well, we'll talk for that as much as we can, and then that ends up being 40 minutes.
But it's always
brain dump.
good stuff.
It's always great stuff. Yeah, because I hear the thought process behind all of the rules that are in the player's handbook, and I think people get a kick out of that.
It's very thoughtful.
It is very thoughtful,
Yeah.
and it goes through all of the thought processes along the way.
I just don't know that, maybe someone who's definitely doesn't work in game design,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe someone who's not as entrenched in the community knows, just like your regular average person probably doesn't think this much thought goes into rules, game rules.
Definitely.
But there's so much.
There is so much, and people don't realize how many iterations there are. I think the playtest for D&D Next was a clue into
Yes.
that to a certain extent, but there were so many iterations that occurred leading up to the ones that were released to the public
Right.
that you didn't even see.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is fascinating.
Playtest is fascinating.
Playtesting is fascinating. You've been doing some of that, haven't you?
I have.
For things.
The things.
It's always your favorite part of the job, I think.
I love it.
Yeah. Getting
I
the
do.
feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Is there good feedback versus feedback that you're like, oh, I can't really do anything with that piece of information?
I will tell you that is 100% true. Now, sometimes people don't want to play test because they feel like, oh, I don't know enough about game design to give you good feedback. I'm you're exactly the kind of people we want to play test, especially if it's meant to be a casual party game. You're exactly who we want.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? Did you understand the rules? Did it make sense to you? Yes. Great. That's excellent feedback. And then some people get confused and they may be lost, and that mars their experience.
Mm.
Or it's like, they literally didn't have a good hand, and then they're like, well, this is poop.
Oh yeah.
So like you have to be like, that's not constructive. Like that's just like you didn't have good cards.
Well,
Sorry.
right. Or the roll of the dice didn't go your way.
Right.
So
like,
that's not like a badly designed game when that
happens.
happens.
Like you rolled low on your attack. That's not, the game's not broken.
Right.
That's not what we're looking for. I'm sorry that you lost or your player died.
Right.
Or your character died.
I can understand that that bit because you're like, you have a small sample size. It's like when you have a larger sample size of games that you play, then you're like, all right, well, I mean, if you had that feedback after playing 20 games, you're like, I've lost every single time.
Yes.
Because of the specific thing. And that's good feedback. But if you just
then we
lost
need to
once,
know, like, well, something's overpowered here.
Right.
Something you're doing is underpowered. So yes,
we
need to know that. But like a couple of them I was watching, like that is 100% not what happened. Thank you for your playtest.
Goodbye.
I'll be like, goodbye. Goodbye now. But
playtesting is hard, and actually people don't realize it can be a skill unto itself too. At least putting in the feedback. Like I think I've realized, like I like playtesting sometimes, but there is a frustration for me when, especially in a digital realm, where I'm like, I don't know. Like I'd rather just play a game that's done. Sometimes. Yeah. In my spare time, rather than a unfinished game, because there's it takes amount of work and effort to create that good feedback.
It's kind of like being an editor.
Yeah.
Like it's you got to have good feedback. Like you have to like see the broken bit and then have a solution for the fix.
Right.
And I'm not a good editor, but and I'm not really a good playtester.
Or a good person.
I'm not really good at anything. Or a good podcast host.
I don't think that's good feedback for yourself. You should be giving yourself more positive feedback.
Is it time for my review?
Yeah, right.
I just did it.
Don't let my boss
Please don't let Nathan hear this podcast. But I don't have a good memory because I don't remember what I was say. I can play something and I can say, I don't know why, but it feels like this is wrong, which is really exciting for game designers. They love that feedback.
Right, when they're like, this just feels not right.
It feels
Can you articulate why?
Nope. Don't know how to fix that, but I just feel like this thing that just happened shouldn't have happened.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get there's shades of that, but I bet that could also be instructive feedback on an emotional level. Being like, hey, this game just didn't make me feel like I had a mastery or I could ever get a mastery. Right. And that's something that I think could be instructive to game designers.
Or like, this game feels like it took way too long. Like that to me says you have some over complexity going on here, and I don't know where to shave that from, but I feel like my turn's taking too long or something like that.
Yes.
So anyway, it is a good skill to be a good playtester.
Right, and recognize whether you got that.
But in some cases, I really like to just see newish people play something and how quickly they picked it up and how quickly they understood the rules and how much fun they were having as I'm watching them play. Yeah, and that's just as valuable.
The nonverbal feedback is probably even more valuable. So that's why it's good having you there. And that is a skill that you, I think, are really good at is empathy in a certain way. Like what people are feeling even if they can't articulate it.
Like right now you are feeling mildly frustrated. And your headphones are uncomfortable?
I take all that back. You are not good.
I'm not empathetic.
No, that's actually pretty true. I need to adjust my headphones.
You have an itch on the back of your neck right now?
Oh, gosh. Did you just cast a spell? Diarrhea. All right.
And that is why you tune into Dragon Talk.
And for all of those callbacks.
We will just change the name to Potty Talk.
Speaking of potty humor and callbacks that comedians use, let's go talk to some two comedians.
Let's do it. Let's talk to people who are genuinely funny.
And way funnier in an interview form. So let's go talk to Dan Telfer and Blaine Capatch from Nerd Poker. Longest midtro ever.
I was just, you know what? I actually thought that was the outro. It was so long. I was like, what do you mean talk to? Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. This is why we need a whole hour for this. You're like, do we really need an hour for banter? I'm like, yes, we do, Shelley.
This is why we need an editor.
That's what Ryan does. Oh no, you don't actually usually edit out. Or you're like, this is great stuff. It's gold. He's smiling at us, not responding for good reason.
He cuts us.
Maybe he does. You wouldn't even know because you don't listen to it.
No, and I don't have a good memory, and I don't remember what I said anyway.
All right, outro time. You ready for some outros?
Should we keep it short?
Let's keep this one short.
Best interview ever.
I enjoyed that interview extensively.
Totally.
Yes.
Funny guys.
I think we laughed.
I cried a little.
I believe you did cry, but I thought that was because you were laughing.
No.
No?
Those were like tears of sadness.
Not tears of joy.
No, joy all around. Sparking joy.
Everywhere you walk.
Without having to roll up your T-shirts and shove them in a drawer.
Exactly.
Are you watching that show? The Tidying Up?
I am not watching that show.
Oh.
Although I support tidying up in
Right.
general.
Right.
I think Aaron and I live our lives a little bit like that. I mean, not to say we don't have.
Tidy?
Yeah. We definitely are like, get it out of here. And I'll say, I don't think we've done the does this bring you joy anymore thing, but I do say to our kids being like, you haven't played with this thing in like 3.5 years.
And that's when they
It's
decide
out.
it's super joyous and their most favorite toy in the world.
Yeah, and they're like, no, get it out. And I
Yeah.
think I'm instilling, that that kind of self-editing of stuff.
I love to do that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of editing I am good at.
See?
Throwing away other people's stuff. Not my own.
It's Marie Kondo and Shelley Mazzanoble
Right.
teaming up.
No joy.
Yeah.
No joy!
You heard it here first. Well, thank you again to Dan and Blaine for stopping by. We really enjoyed that conversation and want to let everyone know that you can follow everything about Dungeons & Dragons in a bunch of different ways.
What are those ways?
Well, there is on Twitter. You can follow wizards_DND there on the Twitters.
Okay.
On Facebook, we are there as well. And one thing I want to make sure people know about is Dragon Plus. You can
Yes.
download that onto your Android or iOS phone and get bi-monthly updates about what's happening in the world with in-depth articles with partners and people who are developing stuff of interest to you. But I like the artwork. I think is one of the best parts.
The covers.
The covers are
Love
great.
the covers.
The internal artwork is fantabulous, and we're always looking at ways to expand that. So check it out.
Yep.
And there will be a new issue
Do
in
that.
February, but there is lots of great back issues available. As I said, on your phone, the Dragon Plus app. Look for it where you get the apps for your phone, but it's also on the web, dragonmag.com.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
Yep.
Where can people find out about Avalon Hill?
You can go to Avalon Hill 2, number 2, on Twitter.
Mhm.
Or or on Facebook.
Yeah, sweet.
Right.
And then you're at Shelly Moot.
And I'm at Shelly Moo on the Twitters. And
Oh.
you are?
At Greg Tito.
That's unique.
It is.
Mhm.
I'm the only dude that's got it right now.
Right.
Anyway, and then I'm also on Instagram at Greg_Tito.
Right.
I put lots of the pictures up on there, including ones from my recent trip to the state capitol.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I saw those.
good stuff.
Look nice.
And what about your Bachelor recaps? You want to point people to
You
them?
can go to ShellyMazzanoble.com. I haven't really.
You said you had a backlog last time.
I
You
do,
still-
and I still do. So if you want them in a timely manner, don't expect that.
Okay,
But
but they'll be
they'll
up there.
be there.
All previous 95 seasons are
I'm behind.
recapped on there.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm just behind on this season.
Well, I know there's a lot of fans out there that rewatch Bachelor seasons, so you can read your recaps as you're doing
Mhm.
that.
There's some good one. I think Ben Higgins as the Bachelor season was one of my best recaps because I hated him.
Check it out if you can. Thanks, everybody. I think that's it.
Thanks.
Do you see this like really? What is that?
What is that? I don't think you should touch it.
What if I just pulled out this
I
one
don't
rock
think
and then
you should touch. Ow! Oh! Ow!
we're dead.
And we're dead.
And the props.
And we've been
I'm glad we actually got
raised.
the real glass with props back up here. It's important. And I think I dropped at least 4 of them, so apologies to anybody who's going to step on a D4.
Just don't come in here barefoot.
Yeah, right. Worse
Like
than a Lego.
ever.
It's like caltrops.
Legos.
Legos, my Legos.
I put together some Legos last night, actually.
What did you put together?
I bought Quinn a new set. The city, the police car, and the bad guy's little car. I put together the bad guy's little car.
See, I like those. I always see them in the Lego store about the like town
They're
stuff.
so
And
cool.
I love that.
I always thought, like, I'm not going to do Legos. I don't want to put this together. No. And he was, like, begging me to do one.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, the instructions are just so, like, take this piece and put it here. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you flip the page, take this piece, now put it here. And before you know it, you have a car.
Done and done.
I was super proud of myself.
If only IKEA were that simple.
I said that to Bart. I'm like, IKEA needs to take a lesson from Lego and how they do their instructions. There are no words in the Lego.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood perfectly.
Right.
But could I figure out how to put together a dresser? Probably not,
Maybe.
unless it was made out of Legos.
It's funny because Bart mentioned the dresser in a previous meeting this week.
Oh, is he like bitter about the fact that he had put together a dresser last weekend?
Maybe.
Well, this weekend he has to secure said dresser to the wall.
Oh gosh, that's a very important thing that every woman in my life has told me.
Really?
Yes.
Is it a lady
My
thing?
mother, my mother-in-law, my wife, you now.
Yeah.
It's every single person has been like, you gotta make sure. And
It's
I'm
a
like,
kid.
it's
Even though, like, when we were kids, our furniture was never secured.
I know. I think
We were never secured.
that's one of the downfalls of social media is that there are lots of stories out there that disseminate that of like, oh, you better watch out because this happened once,
Right.
and not of course mentioning that like lightning strikes too, So everybody should have a lightning rod in their hands at all
No.
times. A big spear like an atlatl. Luckily we have those.
Yeah, we do. We'll be okay.
We'll be fine, but
We're
everybody else out there, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Lightning strikes. All right, I think we filled our bill for this hour.
Oh,
We did it.
right.
Oh, what's the Twitch at you?
Bye.
All right, well then we will take a break and probably go down off of Twitch for a little while and come back up, hopefully as close to 1 p.m. as possible so that you can have our conversation with Dan Telfer and Blaine Capatch. Coming up very soon.
Goodbye,
Thanks, everybody.
friends.
We'll
See
be
you
back.
soon.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.